Hi, hello, how are you? Thanks for stopping by. Today we're going to have a couple of handsome fellas just waxing intellectual about what's going on the weekend. This is the Working Perspectives Podcast, Weekend Poppin'. I'm Matt Lavelle, accompanied by my good buddy, Party in Your Pants, Party Boy Pete McCormick, and the one and only Steve Cabot. Party in Your Pants, Pete, how you feeling, babe?
I'm ready to get going, man. I'm ready to party.
Yeah, I love to hear that. Stuuuudenzz, what's rocking, my man?
What's rocking is Pete's fucking tan. Good for you, my guy.
Yeah,
That's right. That's right.
All right, well, we'll get into it. This is the Working Perspectives Podcast, Weekend Poppin'. You can find us on all podcast platforms and YouTube at Working Perspectives Podcast. You can join us for fun on Instagram at Working Perspectives Podcast, and then follow us on the Twitter or the TikTok at Working P Pod. All right, let's get this thing started. Let's go. All right, boys. All right. So last week we aired the Josh Lawler episode, buddy of mine from the gym. Real good dude. Fascinating profession, I thought. What'd you guys think? Pete, how'd you think the episode went?
I think it went pretty good, you know. Not as good as when I'm on there, but I enjoyed it.
Sure. The fucking mic messing up in the beginning made me so mad. But you know, it is what it is. Stubbs, what'd you think? How'd you like it?
Same thing as Pete, man. I enjoyed it. You know, it's cool hearing. For me, it's hard to listen to anything that I'm not interested in because I'm just an asshole. But you know, hearing being a combat sport and combat athlete, and you know, hearing what he does on an everyday life is super interesting to me.
Yeah, I thought I was wondering how you would think about that because he's working like he's like auto adjacent with you.
Yes.
Like you're in our garage, but he's in like the parts part. But what he was saying, from what I gathered, is like obviously there's a ton of different types of cars and things like that, but there's a million different parts of cars, and you even alluded to it in your episode when you were saying there's your garage because you can handle any type of car of any type of brand of car, right? But each one comes with its own kind of specified tool set and everything like that. He's actually like researching the different parts for different parts of cars and trucks and everything like that, and seeing like, oh, there's going to be a run on this, and there's going to be a run on this and run on this. And they're like, let's stock up so we can fucking sell this shit at, you know, 20,000 a unit and stuff like that. I thought that was just so interesting that he's like playing the stock market almost of like, what's going to be big next. You know what I mean? Is that kind of what it is, Steve? Do you see anything like that or what?
Yeah, I mean, the parts guy job is a tough one because obviously he takes his job serious, and I appreciate that. But most of them, obviously, I think he's different. I don't know him as a person, but he sounds like a good guy.
Yeah.
The difference is 90% of those parts guys are fucking idiots because they never worked on a car.
Yeah.
So then when I go back and I walk up and I say, hey, it needs this part, the guy goes, okay, he pulls it from the shelf because that's all he's doing. He's looking at a number on a computer, going back, pulling it, comes back, and I go, this ain't the right one. And he goes, no, this is what the computer says. This is the right one. And I'm, okay, again, I'm the one working on it. I see it. This is not it. I don't care what your computer says. And then they're like, and then they get mad at you, you know? So like there's an interesting dynamic between mechanics and parts guys, unless you were a mechanic before. So most times the good parts guys, unless you're a good human, which he sounded like, but if you're usually a good mechanic makes a good parts guy because he's been there and he does the hard shit, which is actually fixing it, not getting you the part.
Yeah.
And when I do that, you know, I go back and I go, yeah, this ain't the right one. He goes, damn, another fucking listing error. Like he gets it. He's been there, you know? Where another guy will be like, what do you mean it's not the right part? I have it right here in front of me on the screen. I'm like, all right.
He's like, it's not what my computer says, sir.
Exactly.
No, but
Josh,
Josh,
it's like, yeah, well, asshole, blame the person that put the shit in the computer. Like, you know what I
right?
Yeah. But
we get it all the time. I order a part and the parts warehouse sends it and I go, hey man, I call back up and I go, this part isn't what it says it is. And they go, fuck, it's a bad listing. We'll get it corrected.
Yeah, that's a good thing. But Josh, actually, his dad worked on construction equipment, like you heard in the episode.
You can tell that he knows about stuff.
Yeah, he knew, like, that is good, like, to see, like, his background really shaped, like, what he does. And, like, he does have an interest in it and things like that, which I thought was cool. One of those, like, you would be a killer. I mean, I guess with your experience in pretty much any automotive field, because you did allude to the, working at a Ferrari dealership and you could fucking sell the shit out of those things. And then also, like, I bet a parts guy, you could probably go through the manual and be like, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, and just fix it all. Yeah, nice, man.
And the other thing is I understand like the issues with stuff. So say there's a certain model car, like this is where I was saying how the diagnostics of a mechanic is the true tell of how good a guy is.
Yeah.
So I remember, say a year ago, I worked on, just for instance, a Dodge Ram 1500. I had to put a fuel pump on it or something, right? And I remember that this was a pain in the ass, this part. So I know it's going to break on me. So I already, you already have the knowledge of that. And that now the shortcut. So what's supposed to take on the books 2 hours, the first time I did it, it did take me almost 2 hours. But now I know the shortcuts and what to do. Yeah. So it's bing, bang, boom. Next time I do it, you're in and out.
Yeah. Nice. So I guess that's kind of like, would you say then for like an automotive mechanic, like experience almost make like it makes you money in a way, right?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. Just like wrestling. Like I said, my analogy for my kids is every time we're in there and they have a great session or they have a great experience or a great workout, I tell them they just made a deposit. Yeah. And then when it's time to wrestle, it's time to cash out, homie. Time to go make that money. That's you put all that money in the bank, time to pull that shit out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then if they lose, they come out and I'm like, well, looks like no checkouts today, huh?
Yeah.
No money in the ATM.
My checks bounced a lot.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. I pay the overdraft fee, buddy. You do the burpees. You got pinned.
Yeah.
Yep. Go back there and do push-ups. You fucking. Dude. Never mind.
I remember one time I had to do burpees for an entire practice. I forget the number, but it was like 1,400 something. But
well, can we not call them burpees? Because now it sounds like we're in a yoga studio.
Yeah, grass drills, or whatever it's called.
Right.
Hit it.
Hit it, buddy. Hit it.
That's, I mean, yeah.
Look, we had the
said burpees.
Look, Steve, not everyone that listens to this is A-level athlete like ourselves, growing up in the grind of it.
Hell yeah. That's right.
We need the layman terms.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, we're speaking to the everyman on this show.
It's like it's not technically a Xerox; it's a copy machine. Like, shut up,
Yeah.
It's not an ATM; it's a Mac machine.
Yeah.
Or like when you were like playing PlayStation or whatever, and your mom's like, "Turn off the Nintendo."
Oh my god, everything was an Atari to my mother. It fucking drove me nuts. I'm like, Mom, this fucking thing's a PlayStation 2. She's like, turn that fucking Atari off. I'm like, God damn it.
My wife still does that. She'll say, like, I have an Xbox One, and she's like, your fucking PlayStation, you're always on there, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, God damn it, don't you know it's an Xbox? PlayStation.
They're rivals.
Yeah. It's like, how dare you?
Don't you know Xbox is for guys who calls hit it burpees?
Yeah. It's like, you son of a bitch.
You son of a bitch.
And now I see the mat in the car. It all makes sense now.
Yeah. So, you son of a bitch. That's her yoga mat. All right. So, all right. So let's keep it moving. So next week we're airing an episode. So I want to let the fans know we're bringing size back. Size does matter. It's a thick boy summer. That whole gimmick. We got we're airing the Pretty Rick Outland episode next week, and I'm not gonna lie to the fans out there, we didn't split it up, and I kept it long on purpose just to get some feedback from the fans. And I'd love to hear the feedback at any of our socials at Working Perspectives Podcast on Instagram or Working P Pod on Twitter and TikTok. But let us know if you like the long format or would you like to keep it short. We would like to know that. But we went long with this one. I want to see how people like it. And, I think it's going to be a great episode. Rick Outland is an old friend of ours. He was a wrestler as well. He's a father of 5 kids. He's another one of those things one of those jobs where we've all seen it, what he does in like our daily lives and like, just living our lives. We've all seen what he does in use, and we've all used it, and it's fascinating to see like that kind of aspect come to life, and I'm really, really excited. Plus, I will say this: Pete was fucking on fire that episode.
Attaboy, PD.
Fucking hitting dingers.
Attaboy, PD.
Fucking dingers.
That's right.
That'll be airing next Tuesday on all podcast platforms and YouTube at Working Perspectives Podcast. So let's keep it moving. Let's keep it shaking. Something occurred over the weekend. And I'm not talking about my niece's 4th birthday. All right.
Oh, happy birthday to your niece.
Yeah, that was a lie. She didn't have a birthday. But either
God
way.
Damn it. Scumbag. Making me all sentimental and shit.
Fucking lies about their niece's birthday. Is that the same son of a bitch
Same guy that has the yoga mat in his car.
The same kind of guy that says like those those warts aren't contagious, you know, like
Same
I
guy
only
that
said
says,
that once, Pete, right? Yep. So there was a big fight this weekend. It was Jake Paul versus Ben Askren was the headlining fight. But I want to talk about this. I want to go over the whole card. So the first fight we had on the card was Joe Fournier versus Raycon, and this kind of went how we expected it to go. Well, in a way,
because I didn't even watch that one. I wasn't even going to entertain myself and get myself upset that early, so I skipped Mr. Reggaeton.
Yeah, well, he got, you know, it was a corner stoppage in the second round. It was just, you know.
Oh God, he made it to the second though. Good for him.
Yeah, that's a win, really. But you know, either way, wasn't much of anything. Kind of just like what we thought, something stupid. Then the second fight we had was our boy Philly's own Steve USS Cunningham, and if you heard De La Hoya.
Oh, my man was the most yoked I've ever seen. He was so fucked up. It was awesome.
Whacked. I would love, and I think you brought this up, Steve. I would love a TV show just following De La Hoya around, all fucking whacked up.
Oh, especially after seeing like those pictures of him in drag a couple years ago, and that broadcast, you know, like
and
then people,
I want to party with this man.
The younger generation has no idea how ridiculous of a boxer, one of the greatest I've ever seen. And now
everybody.
He's one of the biggest train wrecks on earth. It is. I mean, I sound like
and
an
Steve,
he
not make like every big boxer, like almost we know today, he made their career. Like that's what made Floyd big was beating him. Pacquiao.
B-Hop's biggest moment was fighting De La Hoya. Oh yeah,
like that was the thing. You beat him.
The number one fight in the world when it happened was Mayweather De La Hoya. When it happened, was the number one selling fight of all time. Right, dude. Exactly, but like Mayorga, you know what I mean? He's fought everybody, right?
Oh,
and he was
awesome. Some of the greatest.
Oh yeah.
Remember, he came out. His coming out party was beating Julio Cesar Chavez.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Dude, I'll tell you what.
Julio was a little old then, but whatever.
But dude, he's Olympic champion and everything like that. Like he was the golden boy, just fucking smooth as
storied career.
Yeah, he's incredible fighter. Him and Mosley, like the whole gimmick, man. They went back. Him and I think it was him and Felix Tito Trinidad too, right? They had their
that was him and Hopkins when Hopkins stepped on the flag.
No, but didn't De La Hoya?
De La Hoya got robbed. He lost to Trinidad, but like I thought he won that.
But this is what happened. The first 6 rounds, De La Hoya easily takes the first 6 rounds. Then he played the game of, all right, well, I'm going to take the next 6 off. Yeah, he took his foot off the gas, and Tito came back and won. And
it's not how you start; it's how you finish, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
But still, I mean, but still, either way. But dude, I remember Mayorga, Ricardo Mayorga, right?
Oh yeah.
Was talking nasty.
He was a killer, talking all this shit to De La Hoya. And De La Hoya beat the shit out of him.
And it was a stark, contrast in the fact that Mayorga's background is from a third world, impoverished country, scrapped out of everything. And De La Hoya was Mr. LA,
flashy, good-looking guy, And he beat the piss out of him.
Sure did.
Oh, I loved it. That was a great performance. And that was like a relaunch. That was a relaunch of De La Hoya, and that's kind of what catapulted him to Mayweather after that fight. Yeah, which was awesome. So all right, so let's keep it going though. So let's talk about our guy Steve USS Cunningham, or as De La Hoya would say it, Steve USSR Cunningham.
Yeah, I'm still confused by that. I was like, is he just like dragging that out from the yoke, or what's happening here? Why is he doing
it? But I'll tell you
what. Get some extra letters in there.
I'll tell you what, Steve Cunningham couldn't have put on fucking 20 pounds for this fight. Jesus Christ, man.
206.
You guys, like, he legit was 206. Like, he was, come on. Like,
and then he lightly pillow slapped around Frank Mir for, I was like, dude.
So you guys thought he carried him? Do you think it was a carry job? He was just kind of like letting him get to the end?
100%. 100%. He could have took it out anytime he wanted. His movement, speed, everything was just too much.
If you see it,
were you guys impressed with Mir at all, or did you think he did a good job? Or
I thought so. I mean, he did better than I thought he would. He did better than I thought he would. Yeah,
I agree.
But I think that there was a clear difference in levels of striking. Yeah. But
when you say clear, the most clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would love for the next time the Pauls do one of these cards, get another kind of like match like that with like, another fit like a Danny Garcia versus, like another MMA guy. You know what I mean?
I don't think that's a good matchup. Danny's a little different. Danny, he's
not the carrying type.
champion.
No, Danny will not carry.
He
No
will
way.
kill somebody. That kid is nasty.
I'll tell you this, Steve. I did watch so on YouTube on
Yes,
the Danny
I've already
Garcia.
watched all 3 episodes.
Yeah, they have a show. I didn't know. Well,
Angel had cancer.
I knew that. The sisters, though, I haven't seen them in a while. Are they over 18?
They sure are.
All right. Well then.
A dangerous question.
Then
now, again, and a dangerous answer because barely.
Yeah.
Barely.
No, but I didn't know his. But that's their gimmick, though. They're like music stars, and like they're doing really well, apparently. Also,
But did you hear the gimmick too?
what?
Danny realized that one of them could sing. So that she was singing for like, his boxing matches when they were little. And the other twin was like, well, what the fuck about me? And Danny goes, I don't know. I'll make you a rapper. So one sings and one raps.
Yeah. And they're like, dude, I love too, though, how like their whole family's in the business. Like their mom's there, like, this is what the style is going to be. And the dad's like, let's get a chopper and a fucking yacht. I don't care.
Look, in the video.
Yeah. So
Angel's the man. Crazy Angel's a legend.
Angel is a legend. His story's nuts. So, all right. So, but either way, then let's move on to the next fight where Regis Prograis versus your boy Ivan Redcock. Speaking of Red Cocks, Steve, what happened with this one, buddy?
Fucking plot. I don't even want to fucking go into it. Did this guy really get? First off, red belly or red cock or red whatever, red nose Rudolph the reindeer. This fucking clown gets clearly hit by a beautiful body shot, which for people that have never been hit in the stomach like hard, I would get hit in the face 1,000 times over before taking a bad body shot. It's the worst pain in your life.
Pete was there when I got dropped by one at a training session.
Yeah, we were like, we had the circuit training going at Rich's. And Matt takes a shot right to the liver, falls on the canvas, and everyone's just yelling at him to get out of the ring. He can't even move. He's completely crippled.
I was like, give me like 2 seconds, you fuckers.
So I just roll him over to the side of the ring and get in there and starts continue sparring with the guy so they can keep getting his rounds in.
To be fair, Joe was he was like 6'3" prison guard at Graterford, heavyweight. I mean, just saying, I was fighting in my weight class, so it just,
sounds like you pulled a red cock.
Yeah, no, I pulled a fucking De La Hoya, fucking,
anyway,
yeah, okay,
this fucking moron takes a beautiful body shot, then lays on his back, like Pete alluded to earlier, like there isn't 7,000 cameras recording it and going through replay, and he still tells the fucking EMTs that he got hit in the nuts. Then they strap him to a gurney. I was like, what? I've already had enough of Dojo Cat or whatever the fuck that is. I was so confused. And then I saw that and I was just like, if I watch any more of this, my head's going to fucking explode.
So let's get into that then.
And that's my fault. I took it too serious. I should have took it for what it was, which is a circus. Instead, I wanted to see a well-produced fight card. Yes. No, that's not what it is. So I'm an idiot for getting angry, and I'm also an idiot for thinking that's what it was going to be. Yeah, but that's what my expectation.
Look, Steve, who couldn't have expected something put on by I believe it was Triller, hosted by Snoop Dogg, Coke
and
AC
De La
Hoya,
I gotta hear
Davidson, AC Slater may have been the third best fighter in the building.
I agree. That's what I said. I said he was the only one on the panel that had insight into what was happening, and if the main insight comes from a guy who does Tai Bo. Well, we got a problem.
You know what? Yeah. All right, so we'll get on this. But I want to have a celebrity boxing match. I want to see Mario Lopez beat up Joe Rogan. I would take Mario Lopez over Joe Rogan.
You're out of your. Are they allowed to kick?
He was so what you don't know, Mario Lopez was a state place winner in California and is also he trains a good amount. I would take Lopez.
I hear you. Here's the thing: are they allowed to kick?
I said boxing.
Okay, if it's boxing, then he has a shot. He could probably beat Rogan up.
I would
if Rogan's allowed to kick, he would take one kick and kill a human.
Dude,
that kicks so hard.
Rogan could kick through a fucking Buick. Are you fucking kidding me?
His kicks are insane. And
did you ever see the videos?
Here's the other thing, Pete. So Mario Lopez is obviously he's on a little bit of roids to be as shredded he is, probably anabolic because it cuts you up, doesn't jack you up. Rogan's on all the TRT. He
does love his
Shred
TRT.
City.
He does.
At 56 years old, whatever, but he's got the most TRT. He got.
Well, let's fucking get some fucking TRT then. What the hell is
Look,
that?
we'll give
is
it a
that
year out.
testosterone thing?
We're going to test it. They have to be on roids. Like if they're not on so much HGH, the fight's off.
Yeah.
So TRT was the big thing in UFC a couple of years ago with like Vitor and other people where TRT is
Dan Henderson
is a testosterone therapy replacement, right? Or testosterone replacement therapy. So basically, if you have a low testosterone level, which this was the trick, guys would go into the UFC and they would go onto a cycle, right? So now which already messes up your endocritic levels and all types of shit, right? So he goes in there, you get all jacked up. When you come off a cycle, it absolutely destroys your testosterone production, right? So they go into a doctor and say, hey, check my testosterone. I don't feel as strong as normal. Just came off a cycle, by the way. The doctor goes, yeah, your shit's super low. I'll write you a script to boost you back up. So now that was the way to beat around the bush, just to say, hey, man, my dick doesn't get hard anymore.
Steve, are you telling me that professional athletes normally don't have low testosterone levels?
Right. So especially world-class ones. So then they would say that. The dude would give them all the TRT. And then next thing you know, you see Vitor Belfort, whose fucking shoulders start at the back of his ears. And you're like, what the fuck?
Is that the dude Bisping was like?
Yes. Yes. That video I sent to you. That video
dude,
awesome.
that is the best.
I used to hate Bisping when he fought, but he's the man.
I'm the same way. I hated him back in the day, but like he turned on me. Like, yeah.
He's a great.
I think it was after yeah.
So, Pete,
after he knocked out Luke Rockhold, I was like, I think I like this guy now.
I agree.
Do you know the story, Bisping? So I guess he's in Brazil. Vitor Belfort's there, and he's yelling all this shit at him in Portuguese or whatever, talking all this stuff. And Bisping is like, all right, hey, Vitor, come here, Vitor. And Bisping goes up to him. He's like, Jesus isn't real. And then fucking Vitor is like super religious, and he loses his shit. Fucking hilarious.
The best is a retort, because then they're cracking up when he tells Rogan that. And Rogan goes, well, what did he say back to you? He goes, I don't know, some Portuguese bullshit. And then he started cracking up.
Did you ever hear the Chael Sonnen story with the Nog brothers?
No.
Where Chael says he went down to Brazil and he saw the Nog brothers. He's like, yeah, I get off the plane and I see these two. They're trying to feed a carrot to a bus. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, Chael.
So ridiculous.
But anyway, I digress.
Yeah. So all right. So let's move it on then. So the main card, or the main fight on the card, everyone knows, was Jake Paul versus Ben Askren.
Which when did the final card take place? At like 1:30 in the morning, in between Justin Bieber concerts?
And 14 episodes of Dojo Cat. I was like, wait, they're wheeling this thing back out again? What the fuck is happening?
Yeah. It was, dude. No, it was. Well, they were in Atlanta, so they were on East Coast time.
Yeah.
Right. So
you think it would go earlier, because that's like I was in Cancun, and I'm out like partying, drinking all night. I get back to my room. I'm like, oh, it's 11:30 here. It's 12:30 Eastern time. This fight's already done. It hasn't even started yet. Like
you turn on Dojo Cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Beebs.
And your boy the Beebs. So okay, so let's talk about it then. So what happened?
Luckily, it was short enough to where I could watch the entire thing on Twitter within 30 seconds of it airing.
Yeah. So, do you think that it was a good stoppage? Pete, let's hear your thoughts first.
I mean, I understand why people question it, but I don't think it was a bad stoppage. Like he went face first into the canvas. Dude, he looked a little wobbly.
He was gonna get he was gonna get smoked in the next punch. Yeah.
Right. And he's not a professional boxer, and so I don't know. Like, you guys know more about boxing than me. Like a real boxing ref, when he sees like that level of is he just going to be like, this is it? Like, this guy's never boxed before. He just got knocked down in this one punch, and now he's stumbling and it's over. Or is if they were more experienced fighters, I could see him like going on like Floyd, you're gonna let him go a little bit, like actual professional boxers. But these guys, are you really gonna let him get like brain damage when he has no idea what he's doing and it's obvious?
I feel a lot of it had to do with like body language. Like I feel like his body language, I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't like a competitor's in the zone body language when he was in there and things like that. To me, at least, maybe it's different because I know he's kind of like a lax guy, kind of like a relaxed guy. But I don't know. As soon as the ref gets out of the way, fucking Paul's taking his head off. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And like then he would have turned into a meme like the fucking Nate Robinson. You know what I'm saying? Like that I believe that's what would have happened. I don't think that he was on Queer Street for sure when he stood up, totally on Queer Street. He beat the 8 count and everything like that, but he was fucking on Queer Street for sure. And like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Steve, what are your thoughts, bud?
So mine, again, that ref was the worst ref I've ever seen in my life because it wasn't just an 8 count. He gave him a 30-second count.
Oh,
What the fuck was that?
Bro, and
what the fuck? I was like, what is he doing?
Like,
he turns around, he's walking to Paul in the middle of his count and then going back to, I was like, what the fuck is this moron doing?
Yeah.
So he gave him more than ample time.
Agreed.
Now, again, with the Pete thing, yes, Pete, that's usually how you would take it. In this circumstance, you have to remember that you're not dealing with, he is an amateur boxer, at best an amateur boxer.
Yeah.
But his thing is, he also is a Olympic level wrestler. He's been a world champion
fighter.
in multiple world champion in Bellator, which people who don't even fight know what that is. And then for people that are balls deep in ONE FC too. So for him, you give it a little more leeway, but if I was the ref, technically, even with all that time, I probably would have let it keep going because of his resume. But I am 100% with Matt in the fact that he would have absolutely gone to sleep in the next punch.
Yeah, he would have been
absolutely. He would have been absolutely put to sleep.
He did, like, honestly,
and
the ref
like,
did him a favor.
Like the other thing was, like, he came in completely out of shape. Like I'd never seen Ben Askren with a gut like that. Like what? Like
that was when I well, first off, when I saw the Redcon thing or whatever that Redcock or whatever that fucking Stuuuudenzz name was, when I seen that antics, and then I seen the way the production was going, and I'm hearing Snoop Dogg instead of like talking technical in a fight. Remember that Redcock and the other guy; those are two accomplished fighters. That was like some technical shit going on there.
Yeah,
and and I hear Snoop Dogg like, "Yeah, dog, I just slide him if I needed to." I'm like, well, that's no one. That's not what happens in boxing. You don't just. This isn't. God damn it! Shut the fuck up, Snoop. All right.
Yeah.
Somebody bring Mario back.
When I want to ask you what kind of weed to smoke, then talk. Until then, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. So you're right, and then I mean, and
Ben looked terrible. Terrible,
dude. I think, like, honestly, his job was to sell the fight. That was his whole thing.
Agreed.
And he did. He did.
Yep.
And here's a number. So Jake Paul was on Logan Paul's podcast, Impulsive. It's a good show. I would, check it out. Good show. But they talked about the buys. I think they had like a million, 1.5 million pay-per-view buys at $50 a buy, right? So the money that would go, like, Paul, I think it turns out that he got $500,000 per second in the ring.
Wow.
Jesus.
Yeah. Well, I know that this is the other thing. Think of this. So Shaw brought this up, which I never even thought of. The fact that most people that are watching that tuned in don't know who the fuck Ben Askren is, right? It's mostly Paul fans, right? And people that don't like Paul, they know him just generically, and they want to see this weird YouTuber fighter. Yeah. So that crowd.
Yeah, UFC fans are watching Gaslam get his ass kicked instead.
Goddamn right, that fight was fucking wild. Anyway, so with that, you got to remember that the medium age of people watching Jake Paul is probably pretty young, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these people are more savvy with the internet. If there was 1.5 million buys, how many illegal streams? And you're talking about Trilla, right? So you're not talking about UFC that has real money and real like tools to be able to combat that. Trilla has none. So that shit was the first site I clicked on to illegally stream it. Worked fantastic with the UFC fights. Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. That was like the good old days.
Allegedly, when I go to watch when I just watched the Ngannou fight, that took me allegedly 35 minutes to find one that would stream right. You kept saying, "Sorry, Dana got to this one. Sorry, Dana got to this one."
Stoops, where are your skill levels at? Because you have trouble getting on a fucking Zoom call, but you're hacking all these fucking pay-per-views.
Remember, what did I tell you? If I'm interested in it, he goes,
yeah, exactly. It's all about
It's all about
in the world of the carrot and the stick. Steve's a big carrot guy.
You're damn right. If the carrot ain't there, I'm lost. I need direction.
Yeah. He's like, you're heading that. I'm heading that way anyway. The carrot's going there. I'll take you with me.
Yeah,
that's right. Honey dicking the shit out of me.
Yeah. So, all right. So, like we said, it was, for those who didn't see it, it was a first round knockout. Well, no, first round stoppage. Sorry. So it was a first round stoppage. TKO ref stoppage. If you saw it, he did fucking put him to sleep with the, he got up, he beat the 8 count, but it was a ref stoppage after that. So let's move on though.
Hold on, one last thing before you jump on that. Did you see the locker room interaction between his corny buddy Javon whatever and Woodley?
Yeah,
because you barking up the wrong tree with Woodley. Woodley's a bad man.
Woodley called him out, right? Woodley's a
bad man.
Yeah,
you want nothing to do with that freak athlete. One of the freakiest athletes I've ever seen inside the cage.
Yeah,
Woodley's a slightly worse wrestler, but a much better boxer.
Agreed. And with real power. Real power.
Yeah.
So for those of you that don't know, what was happening is this: in a professional fight, you're allowed
to watch the guy.
Exactly.
One person.
You're allowed to send one person from your team to the opponent's locker room to watch them wrap their hands. And
so they don't slide pad. People put pads in there. People put other things to make their hands harder.
Exactly. So this is a legit thing. Like people are thinking like this is a legit
thing. It's a sanctioned fight.
Ask fucking Antonio Margarito.
Yeah. Tell the story. Who was the guy that he called him with gloves?
So it was like this. So Antonio Margarito, he was like this Mexican brawler, and there was this other fighter named Miguel Cotto who was this
people know Margarito because he almost killed Manny Pacquiao.
Well, and Margarito almost killed Miguel Cotto as well. So Pacquiao beat the piss out of Margarito. But
he did get one ridiculous hit on Pacquiao where I was like, I don't know. That was when Pacquiao was all juiced up, drinking his own piss. Anyway.
Yeah. So either way, Miguel Cotto was by far the better boxer, and he's winning the first few rounds. Then eventually you just see Margarito's hand, like his jabs and stuff, just really start to affect Cotto. Cotto's head swells up 3 times the size. His
hematoma.
Face is completely closed. You could tell like there had to be brain fluid leak. He was all kinds of jacked up, right? Margarito then becomes like the working man's hero. He's like the _1 thing in boxing. He then moves on. He then moves on. Well, no. He then goes to fight Sugar Shane Mosley.
Oh, Mosley, yeah.
Right? Sugar Shane Mosley's trainer at the time was brother Nassim Richards.
Philly's RIP. Philly's one of the best trainers ever out of Philly.
Exactly. Bernard Hopkins' trainer, right?
And his 2 sons were legends, Tiger and Rock.
Correct. Yes. So yeah, brother Nassim.
These are boxing guys.
Yeah. So Brother Nassim was the guy they sent into the opponent's locker room. So Brother Nassim goes into Margarito's locker room to see him wrap the hands. He sees that one of the hands is already wrapped, and he's like, "Fucking no way!
Cut it!
I'll get you the fucking tape, but you're not doing that, right?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So as soon as he took it off, they saw the wraps were wet wraps that were soaked in plaster of Paris, right? Told the boxing association and everything like that, and Mosley, instead of canceling the fight, continues, has the fights, and beats the fucking shit out of Margarito.
I'm pretty sure too, Matt. Didn't he get a cut of the purse because of that too?
Cut of the purse, and Margarito was suspended, world suspension from boxing for 3 years. His first fight back, Miguel Cotto beat fucking Margarito. And like Cotto, because legit
Cotto's revenge.
You have to think Margarito had dropped Kerman Cintron. He was really known to have heavy hands. So like there's a bunch, all his fights are now like there's an asterisk next to it. And legit,
because hadn't Cotto beat Mosley going into that? That's why you're like, there's no way Margarito ever should have been near Cotto.
agree.
The thing with Margarito too was it was somewhat the reason why people let it float over and thought it was somewhat believable was because Margarito's style was just absolute brawling. Like he was a nut job. He would come out and so people were like, no, it makes sense that he's swinging so hard when he hits people. He fights like a maniac. Like he's not a technical boxer. He's a brawler.
Yeah.
And then guys who know, like you're never going to fool a guy who's been around the sport for 40 years in the streets of North Philly where they do what they call smokers, which the most fucking shenanigans happen at smokers.
Yeah.
So this guy's.
I wonder how many guys.
I've been in a few of those that didn't work.
I fought in a smoker I think it was like a year and a half ago.
There was this. I went to a smoker before. Right, wait to hear this real quick. But I went to a smoker before. One of our giant guys from Riches is fighting. Right. We go to set up. The next fight is some older, like 40-year-old fat guy that you could tell, he didn't want to. He wasn't going to be a UFC. He wasn't like trying to make a profession. He just wanted to scratch, getting in there and testing himself, right? which is respectable. Everybody respects that.
He was a Spider Rico guy.
Guess who his promoter set him up with? This is why I hate promoters, because they don't know shit. All of a sudden I look over, it's Phil Davis.
Oh, shit.
And I remember like Rich and them going, yo, Cabot, this kid's a wrestler. They said he's pretty good. You know who this is? I go, no, let me see. I go, Phil. Oh no. They were like, what? I go, I was like, how the fuck is he in an amateur fight? I said, this guy's a fucking national champion wrestler. Like, no, this dude's a freak. And they were like, yeah, he looks pretty ripped. I'm like, no, you guys don't understand. And then they go out there, they touch gloves, and you can already see the big dudes looking at him like, well, I'm kind of pudgy, and this dude is Shred City. This ain't gonna go well. Right off the bat, fucking Phil, who was raw as hell, swings the biggest punch you've ever seen, barely touches the guy. The guy just takes a knee and says, nope, I'm done.
Yeah.
Nope, not dying. I gotta go to work. I gotta go to work Monday.
I've seen that before where like sometimes like if you have a guy who's can be physically intimidating, he can be aggressive, and like you can, that tests the character. That'll separate the men from the boys at times. But either way. So either way, god damn. All right. But either way, Miguel Cotto beats the shit out of Margarito. But I did want to say this. So there was another guy in Margarito's camp. I believe his El Perro was his nickname. I forget his boxing name, but he fought Harry Joe Yorgi. And this is Harry Joe Yorgi this is when he got knocked out on HBO.
Yeah, in a title fight, right?
Correct. And and this guy
was probably wrapping his hands.
Well, Harry did tell me that his guy, when he went to the guy's locker room, his hand was already wrapped.
No way.
Yeah, and he was
my God.
And he was in Margarito's camp. Like they were training partners. Yeah.
And for people with people that don't know the technical term, like Matt's talking about, when you add this plaster-like substance, your wraps turn into what you use as a cast.
Yeah.
It gets as hard as almost concrete. It's insane.
It's fucking worst.
Yeah.
It is the worst. Dude, imagine, like, people don't know. Like, your hands, when you
hands suck. They break when they hit shit.
Well, your wraps themselves, like when I wrap my hands for a fight, you get a roll and a half of tape on each hand plus a roll of gauze, right? Yep. And like I would say the two guys that would wrap my hands are Rich Latta and Dan Schmedberg, and they are fucking the best. Dirty Dan, but they are the fucking best at wrapping hands, and legit. Like I want them wrapped real early because I want to sweat a lot in them and get them really wet. Because when you get them really wet, you fucking let them go. Oh yeah. So either way, those, like, when that happens, these things are fucking ready to go. So imagine that, but with the plaster Paris in it. Those wraps were hard as fucking.
It's almost like holding a roll of quarters in your hands when you hit somebody at that point. It's just it's not good. It's not.
It's
almost like having brass knuckles under your glove, and that's
right.
Like, if people don't know this, look up the Antonio Margarito versus Miguel Cotto, and you'll see Miguel Cotto's head, and you'll be like, it should have been attempted murder at that point.
Yeah, you better give them a warning before you watch that, because that shit, when his head swells out from that hematose, it is fucking gnarly.
Oh, it's so nasty. Miguel Cotto is one of the best boxers of his generation, and he had to take a knee just because of it was so bad. So, all right, let's keep this moving then. I did want one last thing we're going to talk about. We have next week, this coming weekend, we have another big fight with Jorge Masvidal versus Usman, right?
Yep.
So let's talk about it. Steve, what are your thoughts on this weekend's fight?
This is a big one for me personally, because Usman being from Nigeria, one of my closest friends is Nigerian, and not like your straight up family was born and raised, real Nigerian, right? So Nigerians are some of the hardest people on this planet. They do not fucking play games. They are not out to be fucking funny. They are not out to have some. They work hard and they do everything as hard as they can, right? So I love Usman, and he's a wrestler, great human. He's a great dad to his daughter. I love him as a person, right? Even though I don't know shit about him, what I see, I love, right? Jorge Masvidal is my number 2 favorite fighter of all time. He is. There is no guy I relate more to than if I could die and come back as a human. I'm probably going to want to come back as Jorge Masvidal.
So
he's my favorite.
He is the best
because he's so real. He's so real.
He is. Look, he's a fun to watch. He's like an all around good fighter. Like everything. He has no weaknesses. Yeah.
No weaknesses. And then you got to don't forget too. One of Jorge's main training partners is Sidney Outlaw. who wrestled at
Ah,
Souderton.
really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Sydney's been a top team for a minute now, working. Every time I see him post something up, it's
Yeah.
always with Jorge and all those guys. Yeah, yep.
Sydney,
With Mako.
Sid's a good kid. He's been
Sid's a great guy.
Yep.
He's been at Henzo Gracie PA
Riches,
Academy
a bunch of times.
Well,
he started there when I
Actually,
was
no,
there.
another guy
He
he
was-
trained with in like Portland, like a kickboxing guy that was like teaching him a little bit too. Yeah, he's been in the sports since he was like 17. You're saying
Well,
Saturday.
no,
I remember like
he's
driving
been
him back
coming
from
to
practice.
he's been coming to Rich's since he was 13. He
Yep.
was there for
13?
a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's been Rich has taken him all over the world and things
Yep.
like that. And they've
He's a
done
top
ton of
10
things.
in his weight class in Bellator right now. I mean, the kid's like ranked 6th in his weight. He's fucking nasty.
Dude, and that's
Yeah,
a
Sydney's
kid.
a good kid. That's awesome
Kid-
to see he's like making it.
Exactly.
Oh,
And
yeah.
That's it. That's a kid that came from nothing too.
Nothing.
That's a kid
Yeah.
that
And he's such
really-
a humble human. He's a great
Yeah.
person.
I
Great-
remember,
really
I remember
good kid.
dropping him off at practice like a couple times
Yep.
after Rich's, back in Souderton, and then coaching against him a little bit because I was coaching
Yep.
at North Penn and he was at Souderton. Yeah.
Yep.
He's a good kid. Really.
He had a
happy to
brother
hear
too
his
that
success.
he had a brother too that wrestled at Penn Ridge, Ezra.
Yeah.
Ah.
He was tough too. Ezra was
Ezra's
tough.
a nice kid too. So
Yep.
all right. So Jorge Masvidal. So this is their second
favorite.
fight though, right?
Yes.
So,
And if you really want me to take my heart out of it and just go strictly on what I think I know, and what
Yeah.
I know is Jorge's the man. He absolutely, this is his kryptonite, and there's no way on this planet I see him beating Usman. Usman's just too dialed in and has too many gifts that kind of go against Jorge's. So like Jorge can't get too close to him to really set up his hands, which he has great hands, because when you get anywhere near Usman, I don't care who you are, you're going to the ground. My man is a
Yeah.
nasty wrestler, has incredible athleticism,
yeah.
ridiculous strength. I just think his strong points kind of go line it or row right in a row with Masvidal. So I don't think this.
Yeah.
I think this is the worst matchup Masvidal can have.
So,
in the UFC.
so you're kind of saying that all of Masvidal's strengths are
Run
met-
right in.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So and all his
Not a
Usman's
good
a better
matchup.
wrestler. He's a better
Yeah.
striker.
I
There's
agree.
nothing Masvidal can do.
Well, didn't Masvidal get his ass beat in the first fight?
Yes, but it wasn't
Yeah,
really
yeah,
like
he
an
did.
ass beating. He did get some good punches off. It's just he got absolutely controlled. There was no point where Usman was ever in danger. He always controlled everything. If he wanted him on the ground, he put him on the ground. If he wanted him against the cage, he put him against the cage. If he wanted to stand up, he stood up.
So if going into this, Steve, what would you say is the number one thing Masvidal what should have had to work on in this camp in order to win this fight?
Better footwork. His
Okay.
footwork, he has to move. You can't stay
So
still. You have to get angles.
He kind of has to pop
angles
and,
and your
and
feet
move.
moving.
Okay.
Yes.
So like
Because
pop
what's
and
the
move.
hardest thing?
Yeah.
you
Stay
can't,
away
you can't
from the
take a gig
takedown.
out.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I see. All right. Well, hopefully he does it. So we're coming to the top of time here. Before we go,
I just want to point out, you know who's on this card? Actually, he's Pat Sabatini, a local guy.
Yes,
too.
hell yeah.
Oh, no shit.
So,
I didn't know that.
Shout out,
He's on the
shout out to Daniel Gracie and the Philly
Yeah.
squad, because that's Sean
Yep.
Brady's boy. That's Paul Felder's boy.
Yeah.
That's Eddie
Yeah, Felder,
Alvarez's
yeah.
boy.
I
Yeah,
sat,
there's some monsters out of that squad.
I sat next to Paul Felder at Jordan Steiner's wedding.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
yeah.
Also they all do their striking out of Evolution down there on Kensington Ave,
Yeah.
which that guy's a savage too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not what to talk about this later, but after I left, Rich's was living in the city, I joined a gym, and and like 1 week later, like Sabatini and Feldman over there, they left 1 week after I joined. I'm like, what the fuck's up with this team? I joined, and 1 week later, everybody of note had like left.
Yeah, when Daniel came to Philly, it gave me a great sense of pride, because when I was at Rich's, he's the one that gave me the blue belt, and then my promotion with purple was through Daniel, right?
Yeah.
So because Rich wasn't a black belt yet, and they've always brought down the Gracies to do that, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And it was always Daniel. So like my friends that they were into it, but not super balls deep. And I'd be like, yeah, I fucking got a belt from Daniel Gracie. And they were like, who the fuck is that? And I'm like, they're like, what? I thought, what, not Henzo? And I'm like, no. There's a couple of them, but they're all like people were like, who the fuck is Now everyone's like, oh yeah, Daniel Gracie. I know. I'm like, motherfucker.
Yeah. Do you ever
But
meet?
Steve,
do you ever meet
the
Holes
best-
Gracie?
The best Daniel Gracie belt promotion story I know is Big Omar. Apparently,
Oh,
Omar just
my
went and
God.
rolled with Daniel Gracie, and Daniel Gracie's like, what guy's this belt level? Bump him up. Like,
That's the best. So, all right. So we're coming to the top of time. This has been another episode of the Working Perspectives Podcast Weekend Pop In. As always, I'm Matt Lavelle, accompanied by my good buddy, Party in Your Pants, Pete McCormick, and the one and only Stuuuudenzz, Steve Cabot. You can find us on all podcast platforms and YouTube at Working Perspectives Podcast. You can join us on Instagram at Working Perspectives Podcast and follow us on the Twitter and the TikTok at Working P Pod. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, you can email us at workingperspectivespodcast@gmail.com, and you can go through the approval process with the PAAA. It's important. The approval process is important. You got to be approved to be on the show. If you're not approved, you're not coming on the show. All right? Go through the
Who are we without standards, man?
Yeah, what are we? Who are we? Where are we without standards? This is goddamn America. Fucking red, white, and blue. All right? You know what? That's fucking it. So, all right. So, this has been another episode of the Working Perspectives Podcast Weekend Poppin'. I'm Matt Lavelle. He's Pete McCormick. That was Stuuuudenzz. Steve's Cabot. Have a great one. Enjoy your weekend. Stick around for the ad read. All right. See ya.